Hello, let's do this thing. Hello everyone. Right away I want to thank you for coming back to my channel for another video. Today we're talking about writing, which I know is very exciting. Specifically though, we're talking about how developing a writing habit can positively change our lives. And I will tell you the same thing that I tell my undergraduate students at Johns Hopkins University, except with more cuts, probably. So hopefully you find something valuable in this video. But before we go any further, I'll ask the age-old question that I know the algorithm wants me to get to, which is, why do I think this video is worth your time? I think this video is worth your time because I want to help you actualize your full potential and achieve your goals. And as boring as it might sound, I think that developing a simple writing habit, even if only for 15 or 20 minutes per day, can profoundly influence our ability to negotiate with the future and create a better life for ourselves. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into the meat of things. Writing is a more sophisticated way of thinking. This is something I've droned on and on about at great lengths in other videos. It's what I tell my students at Hopkins, and it's so important that I'm going to say it again. Writing is a more sophisticated form of thinking. That is how and why it can positively change our lives. But I'll say right away that I'm not trying to dupe you. Writing is hard. I mean, not actually hard the way plenty of things are actually hard. It's just hard to actually get better at writing, which is also something I try to tell my students as often as I can, and it's something I've talked a lot about in other videos. So I'll give a quick rundown. I've written for about 2 hours every day for the last 6 years, basically since I was just starting out my undergrad. And only within the last 3 or 4 months have I begun to feel like I actually exercise real control over the style of my writing. Obviously, that might not be what you're working toward. The reason I mention it is because I want to write great works of literature. I want to tell great stories. I've given thousands of hours to studying the craft of writing, and I've experienced firsthand how long it's taken me to get from where I started to where I am now. But don't worry, viewer, because there's some good news. Odds are you're not trying to use the written word to create an eternal masterpiece. But if you are trying to create an eternal masterpiece, then hopefully you like writing, because you've got some time to spend in the chair and you have a lot of paper to waste. I can't emphasize that point enough. You're gonna waste a lot of paper, an ungodly amount of paper. But I wish you the best of luck. May we all achieve our goals and actualize our full potential. Anyways, back to what I was saying, odds are you aren't trying to use the written word to create a piece of writing that will stand the test of time. And I think that's generally a good thing. And it's a good thing because it helps us zero in on the stakes of developing a writing habit. It kind of alleviates some pressure. We don't have to take aim at the heads of the literary giants to become better writers and, consequently better thinkers, which I'll say more about in a little bit. We can use the works of these great thinkers to facilitate our learning, but I think it's important not to let ourselves think we're in competition with artists who are dead and gone. And I think it's important we remind ourselves of that, because I think it can help to keep us focused on the immediate end of transforming ourselves into better thinkers. I tell my students that I think the best way to approach the act of writing is as a communicative exercise, and this is how writing can begin to change our lives. Writing is a more sophisticated form of thinking, like I've already said, because it's a meditation on the language that might best communicate an idea, which is to say that when we write, we are recording the ideas in our head. We are giving form to the ideas in our head. And I think a similar process occurs anytime we try giving form to the ideas that are flying through our head, with talking being maybe the best example. So when we write, what are we doing? Like I said, we're meditating on an idea and trying to clearly and coherently give form to it using language, using the written word. And that isn't the easiest thing to do in the world. Again, it isn't hard the way some intensive feat of strength is. Its difficulty comes from how challenging applying and maintaining our focus for an extended period of time is. And this is something that, for some reason, no teacher ever communicated to me when I was moving through the K through 12 school system and into my undergrad. And I found that the lack of that explanation is a pretty common experience for many of my students. So this is what I say. Writing is difficult the way exercising is difficult, and it's important that we conceptualize it as such because it helps us see the value in our struggling. So yeah, writing is tough, but in the event that we start a writing habit and maintain it, which is, again, something I've specifically talked about a lot in other videos, writing can begin to seriously change our lives. And I'll circle back around here to a point I made earlier. Writing is a more sophisticated form of thinking. And it's more sophisticated because every word that makes up a larger idea basically has to be planned in advance. This is why writing can be so difficult. But by pressing forward, by enduring the difficulties for 15 or 20 minutes a day, and then extending that across a significant amount of time, meaning months or years, continually practicing the act of using the written word to clearly articulate ourselves improves our ability to execute. And maybe that was a bit of a mouthful, fair enough. So maybe to put it more simply, when we practice writing, we get better at doing it. But remember what I said before. When we get better at writing, it isn't some unidimensional skill that we're improving upon, something that is, just kind of relegated to one area. And that's because writing is, again, a more sophisticated form of thinking. And this is how developing and maintaining a writing habit can change our lives. Writing is unique because its intrinsic link to thinking makes it a multi-dimensional skill. So to become a better writer is to become a better thinker. And to become a better thinker, meaning to become more able to clearly and concisely articulate ourselves, we put ourselves in a better position to achieve our goals and actualize our full potential. Writing is one of mankind's oldest tools, and its age speaks to its utility. And I think it's just as useful now as it was, centuries and centuries ago, thousands of years ago. And that's what I try to communicate to my undergraduates. Many of the greatest thinkers to ever live understood this, and it's why I try communicating the importance to my students. Writing is like weightlifting for our brains. When we write, we practice the art of seriously focusing on the development of an idea. And that is the kind of skill that is just as useful for the person who wants to be a novelist as it is for the person who wants to be a welder, because it's all about intuitively contending with a complicated pattern structure. And when we start and maintain a writing habit, the value compounds over time. And I think that's how writing can change our lives. In some future video, I'm going to be outlining how specifically to start and how to maintain a writing habit, so be on the lookout for that. But right now, I'm just kind of talking generally about it. But okay, that's everything that I've got. Yeah, there we go. Before I go, I want to thank you, my wonderful viewer, for sticking with me to the end. If you found this video interesting or useful or helpful, whatever positive word, I ask that you please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button. It really, really helps us out, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. Okay, thanks again, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.